Hello, sisters and brothers. Our devotional for today, for June 8th, is a reflection on My Utmost for His Highest, a series of devotionals written and compiled by Oswald Chambers. You can always find the link to the daily devotional at utmost.org. And today's devotional reflects again on the words of Jesus to his disciples and poses the question, what's next to do? And the words of Jesus and the verses that we're going to focus on take place in the Gospel of John right after Jesus had washed his disciples' feet, and then he attempts to explain it to them. And we'll pick that up at verse 12 of John chapter 13, and I'll read through verse 17. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." And the devotional is titled, What's Next to Do?, looking at that verse 17 where Jesus said, "If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them." Be determined to know more than others. If you yourself do not cut the lines that tie you to the dock, God will have to use a storm to sever them and to send you out to sea. Put everything in your life afloat upon God, going out to sea on the great swelling tide of his purpose, and your eyes will be opened. If you believe in Jesus, you are not to spend all your time in the calm waters just inside the harbor, full of joy, but always tied to the dock. You have to get out past the harbor into the great depths of God and begin to know things for yourself. Begin to have spiritual discernment. When you know that you should do something and you do it, immediately you know more. Examine where you have become sluggish, where you began losing interest spiritually, and you will find that it goes back to a point where you did not do something you knew you should do. You did not do it because there seemed to be no immediate call to do it. But now you have no insight or discernment, and at a time of crisis you are spiritually distracted instead of spiritually self-controlled. It is a dangerous thing to refuse to continue learning and knowing more. The counterfeit of obedience is a state of mind in which you create your own opportunities to sacrifice yourself, and your zeal and enthusiasm are mistaken for discernment. It is easier to sacrifice yourself than to fulfill your spiritual destiny, which is stated in Romans 12:1 and 2. It is much better to fulfill the purpose of God in your life by discerning his will than it is to perform great acts of self-sacrifice. "Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice," 1 Samuel 15:22. Beware of paying attention or going back to what you once were when God wants you to be something that you have never been. If anyone wills to do his will, he shall know. John 7, verse 17. So Chambers here is reminding us, as Jesus has taught us, that we need to get past where we are comfortable, far past it. And once we do so, we will know more, in the sense that we will have gained spiritual discernment. Think about it. If someone were to stay tied to the dock, calm in the harbor, what would they ever know about sailing? And this is similar in a way that we're never called to this comfortable life where we just have to do those things that make us feel comfortable and safe and secure in our faith, only in the sense that we're secure in what we know so far. God has called us to far much greater. And I can tell you there have been times in my life where it felt like I was being tossed on the waves, and it was both frightening and exhilarating. I can tell you that there are times where it felt like I was shipwrecked. But God remains faithful, and I now know more than what I did then. And I think about it this way. If we look at the circumstances surrounding us in the world today, there are those who have been doing the faith work and the groundwork to address some of the issues that are coming up, and they are ready. They are ready for this time because they were obedient even before it seemed like there was such a great need to address some of these matters. To those who have been living safe and comfortably and not really paying attention to some of the issues at hand, they feel overwhelmed. We have to do the things that God has called us to do, no matter when it is. Sorry. And once we do that, we will gain greater discernment. We just simply have to trust God and follow Him. So thank you as always for listening. Be safe and stay well.